Welcome back on my YouTube channel, Turin Allianz Stadium, Juventus 2, Parma nil. First game in Serie A this season for Juventus and Parma. It was a very important game for so many reasons. First of all, there was Jonathan David debut with Juventus in Serie A, and it was a very good debut indeed because David scored the first goal of the night for Juventus. He broke the deadlock in the second half. And basically paved the way for um, a deserved victory, I would say. I'll be discussing the Tudor post-match comments later on, as well as the best performance in the game. And David was indeed one of the best performers in the game, not just for his goal. I have to say that the first half was a little bit, I mean, hot and cold, not just from David, but from the whole Juventus team. They didn't create much. Parma defended really well, and Juventus they relied a lot on Francisco Conceição, but they were unable to beat the Parma defense, who defended with a low block, and were so therefore Juventus unable to squeeze past their defenders and create something meaningful. But the second half was very different, and David scored one of those goals that we were accustomed to see. The first half was pretty difficult for him, also because there were a lot of crosses, and David is a classic center forward, but is not too strong in the air. Just 5 goals in the last 3 years with Lille at the club level. So in the second half, Juventus changed approach a little bit, and it's no coincidence that David scored his first goal. It looked pretty easy, but it wasn't that easy. The pass from Kenan Yildiz from the left was absolutely amazing. A good dribble inside the box, and then he put this very strong ball in, and David scored again a goal that seems easy, but is not easy for the way he moved inside the box. And the way he moved inside the box was something that was praised by Igor Tudor as well during his post-match press conference, which I attended here at the Allianz Stadium. Tudor was particularly happy with the way that David moved inside the box, and he said more than once that what he does inside the box is something that not many strikers do. He said this is exactly what he likes doing, and is it something that not many other strikers do. And so it was important for Juventus to start off on the right foot, because the direct rivals for the Scudetto and for the Champions League all started really well. Napoli won 2-0 yesterday. You saw the live video from the Mapei Stadium live with Giancarlo Rinaldi on Saturday, analyzed the game with goals from Scott McTominay and Kevin De Bruyne. Roma won 1-0 with Wesley, a goal from Wesley against Bologna. Milan, and it was a warning for Juventus, the Milan defeat 2-1 against Cremonese. Tudor didn't mention Milan, but said we saw the results from the other clubs, and we knew that the first game of the season is always a tricky one, is always a very difficult one. And indeed Juventus proved that they didn't underestimate Parma by any means, and they played a very good game. They pressed high all the time, and when it wasn't the case, when they had to manage the result, they dropped a little bit. They didn't defend inside the box anyway, but they were a little bit more cautious, and then they scored the second goal with Dusan Vlahovic, another big talking point tonight. They scored the second goal with Dusan Vlahovic, another assist from Kenan Yildiz, who was the undisputed man of the match. And Yildiz deserves a few minutes from this video, because we knew that he was and that he is the most talented Juventus player, but tonight I don't want to say he won the game single-handedly, but it really was impressive. He proved that quality is still key in football, beyond the tactics, beyond the managers, beyond everything that, you know, pundits talk about. This manager does this substitution or do that thing to move the team. What still matters, I think, is having the quality to beat your direct opponent, having the quality to put your teammates in the best conditions to score. And this is exactly what Yildiz did tonight. Deserved man of the match award. Again, in the first half, it was a little bit hidden, perhaps. It was Tudor explained it for him and Conceição in his post-match press conference. He said In the first half, we tried a little bit too often to pass towards the middle of the pitch, which which was all blocked because Parma defended with a very low block. So what we had to do was to go wider and try to look for the space on the wings, and from that position then look for the midfielders and for the striker inside the box. And this is exactly how the first Juventus goal came, with Yildiz moving a little bit wider, putting the ball inside, and then this David movement was absolutely perfect to score the first Juventus goal of the night. Talking about what Tudor said, he said it wasn't easy against this Parma side because he said they came here to play the old style, the old way. So a classic catenaccio that tried just to defend deep and counter-attack, and so we had to be good in not giving any chance to them to counter-attack, but also be very smart on set pieces, because we knew they could hurt us on set pieces. And I agree, Juventus played a very intelligent game. They had just one risk at the very beginning of the second half, when Gleison Bremer made an incredible clearance on Matteo Pellegrino, who already scored against Juventus last season when Tudor was already in charge at the start of Tardini, and Parma won 1-0. That was the best chance for Parma. Clear open goal, but this Bremer clearance helped Juventus win the game, first of all, because the game was still 0-0 beginning of the second half, but proved once again that Bremer will be like a new signing for Juventus this season. By far the best Juventus in the team, perhaps the best defender in the league as well. He is somebody that Juventus missed so much last season. He got injured in October, knee injury that forced him out of action basically for the whole season, starting October 2024, and his return tonight was so important, and is going to be so important for Juventus, because really is probably, I see him as the best defender in the league, and that clearance on Pellegrino proved how important he is. His sense of position, his knowing what the opponent is and what the ball is, it's something that is really impressive, and Juventus missed it so much. The only bad news of the night came from Andrea Cambiaso, who got a red card. Tudor said Cambiaso is gonna be fine. Basically, he elbowed his opponent. He tried to hit his opponent after an aerial duel. It wasn't like a very hard hit, but it was a deserved red just for the way that Cambiaso tried to hit his opponent. So unfortunately for Juventus, it's deserved, and you have to see whether he gets 1 or a 2 game ban. Most likely it's a 2 game ban because it's violent conduct, and if this is the case, that means Cambiaso will miss not the next game, but round 3 when Juventus host Inter here at the Allianz Stadium in Turin. So that would be a key player missing for Juventus. Of course, we still need to see the decisions from the sporting judge, which will likely come on Tuesday after the last 2 games of round 1, but it's basically almost certain that Cambiaso will be missing 2 games because of violent conduct and because of this straight red card that he got tonight against Parma. One last thing, but it's likely to be the most talking point regarding Juventus next week, the week starting tonight, and it's Dusan Vlahovic, of course. Scored, he was introduced from the bench, replacing Jonathan David, and he scored on a counter-attack, once again assist from Kenan Yildiz. And the big question is he staying or is he going? In the post-match press conference and in post-match interviews, Igor Tudor couldn't confirm that Vlahovic would stay. He said, we'll see what happens. He praised Vlahovic's attitude, Vlahovic's mentality, because he said he's always focused and he's a true professional. And you could see by the way he moved and the way he did things on the pitch tonight, Vlahovic, that he really wants to end this Juventus spell, if it's going to end next week, in the best possible way. But there's another question that goes beyond what Vlahovic does on the pitch, and his goal for Juventus tonight is should Juventus keep him for one last season, even knowing that they could lose him for free in less than a year because his contract expires in 2026? And it's a good question because Juventus have still no agreement with PSG for Randall Colomwani. So right now, Jonathan David and Dusan Vlahovic are the only options in attack. If Vlahovic leaves, are they going to sign another player, another striker who is just as strong as Vlahovic and can be, such an added value as Vlahovic proved tonight? It's not certain. It's not cleared. Juventus fans are pretty divided over this matter because he was booed more than once in the past, and even in a recent friendly against Juventus under 23, Juventus Next Gen. So it's hard to tell. Surely this goal will make his life much easier in the coming week, but this is the week where Vlahovic could end up leaving Juventus. Milan want a striker. They're going after Harder of Sporting Lisbon. It remains to be seen whether they're going to sign two strikers rather than just one. So there's still a lot going on. Aside from Milan, currently there are no reports of other clubs interested in Dusan Vlahovic. So he has a high salary, but he's one of the best strikers in the league. Juventus know that if he stays, 99% they're going to lose him as a free agent at the end of the season. But on the pitch, they still need him currently because otherwise they would be staying just with Jonathan David for the current season. So it's a big talking point for the next week. This is it pretty much from the Allianz Stadium. There was a lot going on, and there is still going to be a lot going on obviously this season. 1 week to go before the end of the summer transfer window as well, so keep in touch. If you want to know something more about Serie A games, I would advise you to go back and check my live video from the Mappei Stadium yesterday, Saturday, when I discussed the Napoli victory over Sassuolo, by far the favorite to win the Scudetto Napoli. But the Juventus side we saw tonight, not title favorites, surely will fight to win the title. I guess it's going to be pretty difficult for Juventus to challenge for the Scudetto until the very final weeks, but who knows. They have two very strong strikers. They have one of the most talented players in the league in Kenan Yildiz, and I think they have the best defender as well in Gleison Bremer. They all played together tonight. They all played really well. A few things may change in the coming week, but meantime Juventus can enjoy this victory and go home with 3 points and a very good way to start the season. So thank you very much for following me. I'll be back very soon with other videos from Serie A. Bye bye.